Hello everyone, my name is Jacob, and this will be a PR case analysis of the Real Warriors campaign. So before we talk about the campaign itself, we need a little bit of background. So the problem that the campaign was trying to solve was the mental health problems and suicidality among military veterans and active service members. So if you don't know, there is a pretty major problem with mental health among both veterans and current military members. In fact, suicide is the highest cause of death in veterans under 45. And for service members, post-traumatic stress, survivor's guilt, depression, anxiety, and substance abuse are foes they must fight long after they hang up their uniforms. That's a quote from Army Captain Garrett Boyer, who's an active duty psychologist for the military. So this is a very, very big problem, of course, being in the military, whether or not they see combat. Military members are aware of the fact that they could be killed in their line of work, and watching people die, dealing with the tough work ethic and regiments of the military cause quite a strain on their mental health. So that's where the Real Warriors campaign came in. Real Warriors campaign was created to encourage veterans and active duty military members to seek psychological help, and it did that by focusing on ideas that mattered to military members, such as strength, honor, and respect. So let's talk about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So the strengths of the Real Warriors campaign was that they utilized the health belief method. The health belief method is a tactic used in healthcare that focuses on identifying exactly what the negative outcome of a set of practices is. So you clearly lay out to the person, here is what will happen if you do not change your behavior, and then you show them the positive outcome they can achieve if they do change their behavior. It's often used for cases like people with diabetes, people with weight issues, and in this case it was used effectively for encouraging people to seek mental health treatment. Another strength of the campaign was that they knew their audience, and they presented a clear, unified message to that audience. They knew exactly who they were speaking to, and they didn't deliver a message that would have been better off for another group, and we'll expand on that a little bit later. Now the weaknesses of the campaign. One of them was the poor usage of technology. From the beginning, a lot of people said that they had a lot of trouble navigating the websites and understanding a lot of the material that they put out. There was social media presence, but it wasn't exactly super comprehensive. They also failed to properly inform secondary demographics. So while they put a lot of effort into reaching out to military members, they could have done more to reach out to, say, health providers or families of military members. And then opportunities. The biggest one is to expand their online presence. Of course, nowadays we have Generation Z, who grew up with the internet, is now reaching adulthood, and there are a lot of military members who are themselves Gen Z now. So you need to be able to meet people where they are at. So for a campaign like this, being able to reach them online more so than they already are would be a massive opportunity to expand their reach. Now, threats of the campaign. Biggest threat that the campaign faced from the beginning was the reluctance of military members to seek mental health resources. That's for a few reasons, one of which is the fear of looking weak. Among the military, there's a massive sort of macho masculine attitude, and there was a fear of being seen as weak if you admitted you were depressed or you had any type of mental health issues. There was also the fear of negative consequences. A lot of people in the military, especially active duty military members, were worried about being declared unfit for service because they were depressed or anxious or suffered from PTSD. So the question now is, was the campaign ultimately successful? And the answer is yes. The campaign had a massive amount of engagement. 1.6 million written materials were distributed, 580,000 social media interactions, 973,000 website visits, 132,000 social media mentions, and 67,000 news stories were written about the campaign internationally. And of course, there was positive effects on the military. Thanks largely to the Real Warriors campaign, 25.5% of active military members now utilize mental health services. This is actually greater than the percentage of non-military members, which lies between 15.2 and 16.1%, depending on the age group. It also helped destigmatize mental health services and remove barriers to care. So there's a lot less people in the military now who fear losing their position or being declared unfit. So how did they do it? Well, simply put, they used a wide diversity of tactics. They knew that the military and military members comprised numerous demographics all across the country, so they had to utilize a number of different avenues to reach them. They used radio and television PSAs. They partnered with health organizations to help identify warning signs. They worked with individual healthcare professionals, teaching them exactly what to look out for and how to help encourage people to get help. They also worked to inform the general public. Back before the campaign started in 2009, not many people knew about the issues of mental health in the military, but now it's pretty commonly understood that it's a problem. So what can we take away and learn from the Real Warriors campaign? First is to know your audience. The Real Warriors campaign was dedicated to a very different group of people than the general public, and because of that, their message had to reflect that. They utilized ideas of strength and unity and honor, which were concepts that you might not necessarily use if you were creating a mental health campaign for the general public. But it worked because it was tailored towards their audience. The next takeaway is to find the barriers to mutual understanding. This is something else that the Real Warriors campaign did very well. They identified what kept veterans and active duty military members from seeking care, and they managed to eliminate those barriers largely in the minds of the public. And the last takeaway is to diversify your avenues but keep the message unified. So the Real Warriors campaign, although it was spread across television campaigns and sponsorships and event sponsorships and all other types of avenues, it still had one single unified message, and that made the idea and the campaign cohesive and understandable. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you learned something.